Once upon a time, a little sparrow named Mimi lived in a forest. She was the only child of her parents. They loved her and took great care of her. But one day, a big storm came. Mimi's mother got caught in it and passed away. Mimi was very sad. Her father was sad too. But he stayed strong for her. After some time, her father got sick and passed away too. Mimi was all alone in the forest. But her mother's friend, Aunt Lucy, and her husband loved Mimi like their own. And they told her she wasn't alone. One night, the storm hit hard. Mimi trembled in her nest, hearing the loud winds. Mrs. Lucy's kids cried. Mrs. Lucy comforted them.
"Don't be afraid, my darlings."
Then she remembered.
Mimi must be scared too.
Mr. Harry said,
"Please, bring Mimi here. The storm will get worse."
Mrs. Lucy flew quickly to Mimi's nest. Mimi hugged her tightly.
"Aunt Lucy, I was so scared."
Mrs. Lucy smiled.
"You should have come earlier, dear. Let's go now."
They flew to Mrs. Lucy's nest, where the kids cheered.
"Our sister has come!"
The storm raged outside, but inside, Mimi told stories, and everyone listened. One afternoon, Mimi was drinking from the stream when a handsome sparrow landed beside her. He drank water calmly, her heart racing. She flew back to her nest. That night, she couldn't sleep, as his face stayed in her eyes. A few days later, Mimi was at Aunt Lucy's home. When Aunt Lucy said,
"Oh dear. I just remembered a sweet couple became my neighbor. Let's go meet them."
Mimi replied,
"Okay, Aunt."
They flew to the couple's nest, where Julie warmly said,
"Welcome. Come, sit."
James appeared from the kitchen, and Mimi's heart skipped a beat.
"I saw him at the stream. He's married,"
she thought. Her heart sank. As Aunt Lucy chatted with Julie and James, Mimi sat quietly. After a while, they returned home. Aunt Lucy asked,
"What's wrong, dear?"
Mimi sighed.
"I'm going home, Aunt. I'm feeling sleepy."
Aunt Lucy smiled gently.
"Okay, my dear."
Mimi returned home. Mimi lay in bed, weeping.
"Why did I fall in love with him? He's married.
She cried all night. Every day, she would watch him pass by her nest. She waited for him, hoping for a glance. He noticed her, but always ignored her. One night at Aunt Lucy's house, when they were gathered, Mimi kept looking at James. Julie noticed, and later, when they were back home, she asked,
Why was she looking at you?
James replied,
Please ignore her. I love you. And can't imagine anyone else.
But Julie became suspicious and decided to check on them. One evening, Mimi saw James at the stream, tired and drinking water. She said,
James, under the tree. Many grains are scattered. Don't tire yourself.
But James rudely said,
You don't need to worry about me.
Just then, Julie arrived and shouted,
You are involved with her. I can't live with you.
She angrily walked away, with James following her. Mimi, worried, returned home. At home, Julie was crying. James reached and explained.
She was just telling me about food.
But Julie said,
I'm going to Aunt Lucy's. Tomorrow, I will go to my mom's house.
She left for Aunt Lucy's house. Aunt Lucy was worried to see Julie crying.
Why are you weeping, my dear?
Julie shared everything with Aunt Lucy. James angrily reached Mimi's house. She was scared to see him.
How dare you talk to me? Julie is upset and going to her mom. I won't forgive you.
He shouted. He beat her badly, and she cried.
I love you. Please don't hate me.
He then went back. Mimi, in tears, went to Aunt Lucy's house. Julie was weeping there. She was surprised to see her bleeding.
James loves you. Not me.
Mimi said weakly.
If he loves me, why beat me? Look at what he did to me.
Julie then left for her home. Aunt Lucy comforted Mimi.
I will marry you to someone kind.
That night Mimi stayed there. Uncle Harry and the kids were sad. Aunt Lucy gently dressed her wounds. One day, Aunt Lucy told Mimi, smiling.
Mike wants to marry you, dear.
Mimi blushed. But her heart tightened with a pang. James's face flashed in her mind. And for a moment, she felt torn between the two. A few days later, they got married. On their first night, Mimi looked at Mike, nervous.
I want to tell you something,
she said. But Mike smiled warmly and kissed her forehead.
Forget the past, my dear. I love you. And I know you will love me too,
he said. Mimi smiled, and they began their new life together. But after a few months, Mike fell ill after being soaked in heavy rain and passed away. Mimi cried uncontrollably. James and Julie, now parents to a baby, were also sad. Aunt Lucy and Aunt Laura gently comforted Mimi, holding her close as she mourned. After some time, Mimi slowly composed herself. One day, Julie went out in search of food, but she got injured and passed away. Her baby cried for her, but James couldn't care for his child. He became mad with grief. One day, Mimi saw James sitting alone under a tree. She thought about the baby, Moni, and decided to visit. When she arrived at James' home, Moni was crying.
Mom! Mom!
His little voice filled with sadness. Mimi's heart broke, and she gently comforted him. She fed him and held him close, wiping away his tears before returning home. The next day, Mimi saw James and said,
you need to care for Moni. He is always hungry. But you don't care.
James ignored her and flew away, leaving Mimi with a heavy heart. On a stormy night, Mimi's heart was heavy with worry.
I don't know if James is with Moni, or if he is alone,
she thought anxiously.
What if Moni is scared?
She quickly flew to his nest. When she arrived, Moni was crying. Mimi rushed to him.
Don't be afraid,
she whispered.
I'm here with you.
Moni's eyes were closed, and he hugged her tightly.
My mom?
He asked. Mimi said,
Yes, my dear.
Just then James came. Suddenly the rain started. He ignored her and sat down aside. Mimi waited for the rain to stop. Moni again said,
Are you my mom?
Mimi smiled.
Yes, my dear.
James shouted,
You always wanted to take Julie's place. You are not Moni's mother. Julie is. Leave.
Moni cried harder, and Mimi was stunned.
James! Please! I will soak in the rain. Please don't do this.
James roughly pushed her away, toward the edge of the nest. Mimi, heartbroken, tried to walk away. But the cold rain soaked her wings, and she couldn't go any further. She stayed under a tree, shivering. Meanwhile, James stayed with Moni, who was still crying. Suddenly, James felt a strange tug at his heart.
Oh no. What have I done?
He thought.
What if Mimi gets sick? What if I lose her too?
He rushed outside. After a short flight, he found Mimi shivering under a shed. Her eyes were closed from the cold. Without thinking, James quickly spread his wings over her.
Mimi, I'm here.
He whispered softly. Mimi opened her eyes.
You.
James smiled, his heart full of love.
Yes, Mimi. I love you. I lost Julie. But I can't lose you too. Will you marry me?
Mimi smiled through her tears.
Yes.
They both smiled.